happy it makes me when I am able to introduce you to a new voice. You understand what it does to me to be able to bring Black men on the show and let them speak for themselves. You know how I feel. So many people like to talk about them, talk for them, speak on their behalf, but very few like to let them actually speak their own minds. On Sonnie's Corner, that is one of the things we love the most. So I would like to introduce you to my bro. I've been following this man for a while now. Not just him, but the missus too. And I cannot wait for this fire conversation. Introducing the one and only Terrence Fouler Sr. I kept calling you Junior when you're the senior. So welcome to the show, bruh.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate it. This is an honor. Finally, man, 3 years in the making, right?
Yeah, and it's just, I believe in timing. When everything aligns itself, then I know we're going to have fire conversations. So I think that's where we're at today. You know the rules. First time guest on the show, you get to choose topic. You can tell everybody about what you do. You can pick a specific subject. You can take on a policy matter. Whatever you want to talk about, the world is yours, and so is the floor.
Okay. So, you know how I approach it. I have no specific topic. I believe in fire conversations, also in voluntary association. So I feel like once I introduce myself properly and educate the people, then we'll naturally have a conversation that's going to grow and have questions and that sort of thing. But, you know, a proper introduction of myself, man. My name is Terrence Fouler Sr., 38-year-old man from Albany, Georgia. Duke to the Duchess of Hustlenomics, my wife, Latia Fowler, the father and dad and bricklayer for our 5 children. 2 girls, 17 and 15, Sonnie and Cambria. My 3 boys are 13, 3 and 1, Terrence Jr., Maverick, and Walker. Friend, life partner to my ex-wife and mother of my 3 kids, Alicia Fowler, best friend, and business partner to my ace, Jatari Jackson. I mean, professionally, like I heard my guy 19 Keys say, what you see me doing is what I do, you know, paraphrasing, of course, but sports and entertainment executive, former owner of the Georgia Firebirds professional arena football team, former president of Rush Travel and Lifestyle, which is a travel and business management company for pro athletes and high-profile celebrities. Former manager and COO of King Randall and the X for Boys, and current and founder and president of Get Active Georgia Strategies. Man, you know, if there was one quote that, you know, sums it up for me and defines me, is Bobby Kennedy's, some men see things as they are and ask why. I dream of things that they never were and ask why not, man. So, you know, that's me in a nutshell. So, you know, don't have a specific topic. You know what I'm saying? I felt like after that introduction, you and I have great. We can roll with questions.
All right, so you have Get Active. What is Get Active, and what do you hope to accomplish from that?
Okay, Get Active. It started as a saying. When I first got full-time started, I've only been full-time in the nonprofit and political space for a little over 3 years. Once I saw, I paid attention on the Democratic side before I got active on the other side. Once I saw that there was no action plan for either side, for our urban community specifically, I just started to tag it in everything that I did politically, because I wanted to encourage other people to be civically engaged and educated on what's going on. I don't push a side. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm neither one. I want our people to be educated so you can make your informed decisions. So I started tagging Get Active in everything that I did politically, just to encourage and show people that, you know, a young Black man out here being active, and I want to encourage you to do the same thing. So it started to grow into, canvassing for a few campaigns, working as campaign manager, seeing the lack of actual boots on the ground that we have in our Black communities. And I was like, I really want to start and move, especially in the South. I'm in South Georgia, So I started moving and making moves as far as working with campaigns and candidates, introducing them to the urban communities in Georgia. And it's grown into a national thing now that I've partnered with the Vanguard and Get Active Strategies. Now I'm moving all over the country, working on campaigns. I have other black kings. Like right now, I'm riding with 3 amazing young men, 19, 22, and 22 years old. They're trying to be active in their communities, and we've taken it national, and we're just making sure we can move and show people civic engagement without choosing sides. This is to educate our people and to get you excited about the things that affect your life, on a policy level, on a local level, every level. So that's
how do you find it is easy or hard to have those conversations when you're not picking a side? Because I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but I am a conservative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That is what runs through me, point blank.
Right.
And anytime you start to have these conversations, they expect you to come from one side or the other. So what do you find when you're starting to have these conversations and their expectations creep in as opposed to what you're actually trying to accomplish?
Well, I'm very stern and direct when I speak, and when I have interactions with people, I let it be known that I'm coming from a neutral perspective automatically. I'm not going to approach it with a right or wrong type of judgment, because that's exactly what it is. If I'm coming to you saying that you are right or wrong, I come from a neutral perspective. I like to hear everyone's side. I'm big on conversations. I feel that that's a big trait that we don't practice a lot anymore. Is just communicating with each other. It's not for always understanding, and it's not always for agreement. But sometimes if we just have the conversation, then we can have some type of mutual place that we can dwell, not even if it's, okay, I can understand. Because honestly, sometimes you can understand the position that person is in, even if they do tell you their story. But to be able to have a conversation and not be judgmental is the approach that I have. So I always approach everything from a neutral perspective. I mean, yes, I show people who I am, and I'm a non-judgmental person in all things. So my approach in politics and canvassing is the same thing. Of course, I get the looks, a lot of times when I'm speaking politically and, strategically about how we need to move or how we should move as a people, because they don't expect it from a black, tatted up, 38-year-old guy from Albany, Georgia. And I'm not trying to carry myself as a, perfect guy. I'm an average guy. So that's how I approach everything, as your average guy with execute my godly abilities. That's it.
Go ahead. I like that one. That's one of the things that I hear consistently is, especially coming from the right, they'll be like, oh my God, if there were more like you. And I'm like, I'm average. I might be really smart, but when it comes down to it, I'm pretty average. We're kind of like the majority of Black America here. And I think that a lot of, especially people on the right, think that the majority of Black America is like Don Lemon. You know what I'm saying? It is like those Democrats on the punditry class, they assume the majority of Black America is like them. But then if you look at their numbers, Black people aren't watching them. We don't connect with them. We don't have that, attachment to them that the right seems to think we have. And so there's an entire portion of Black America that has zero representation because we're just regular and nobody wants to address us.
Yes, and that's my biggest thing. When you get into the political side of everything, and I start thinking strategically, but also I'm first thinking about our Black community. I'm not anti anything. I respect everything. I know I want to impact and inspire our community specifically. But when you get into the numbers strategically and things that I'm seeing the Democrats have seemed to figure it out. But one thing on the Republican and conservative side they haven't figured out is that there are a big number, 30 to 40% of swing voters out there this year where regular people like myself fall into that place and you're not trying to have any type of true engagement with them. When I started working a lot with a lot of Republicans, I heard we're the party of inclusion. And in the beginning, I was at all the Trump rallies. It was cool. Like, I was straight with it. I got tired of going to all the pep rallies. I'm like, hey, man, when we going to get out here and do some work? Because we just pep rallying amongst ourselves. I already know you going to vote for Trump just like I did. So when we going to go out here and talk to everybody else about what's going on, and not from a media perspective. Let's talk about it. If they doing something for real, let's dig into it line by line and tell you what they're doing. If they're not, let's tell you what they're not doing, because I don't want you tag teaming with me for a situation that's not conducive for you and your interests, because I encourage people to vote in their interests, not with parties and pandering and pundits and that sort of thing. Vote what matters to you, man.
And that's the thing. When they start talking about inclusion, right? What I've learned is their definition of inclusion is we'll accept you as long as you don't talk about black stuff, right? Like, just don't talk about black stuff. Like, you don't talk about black culture. Don't talk about black history. Don't talk you are welcome here if you are American, but not black. And I'm just like, and at that point, I'm like, do you understand why I don't feel welcome here? Because I am, in fact, black. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, I'm not against anybody. I'm not trying to argue, and I don't play the racist game. I'm not all white supremacy. Like that is just a waste of freaking time for me. But you can't tell me my culture doesn't exist. You can't tell me my history doesn't exist. You can't tell me my community isn't worth the dress. Like, you can't tell me those things and then turn around and say, but we're inclusive.
Yeah, not at all. And that's my issue. And I I focused on Georgia specifically. I had a little issue with the party because they weren't listening to what's going on. And I'll break it down for you, because I talk about it on Twitter a lot. If you see, it seems as though I'm super critical on, the candidates in Georgia, and I am. I'm super critical on the party, because if you want to have a strategy of winning, then you have to move differently. But in Georgia, they seem to want to go in the same circles with the same candidates and continue to separate more than, bringing everybody together. But I was big on, trying to help candidates around Georgia. Like, you have to have some type of direct engagement with us, and no candidate that I know on a national level in Georgia has direct engagement outside of Calvin King has been to all 159 counties. But no one had a direct engagement plan for our state when it comes to our urban communities. I heard a couple of Republicans tell me sometime last year, but Republicans have won races without black people for years. You know what? That's cool. But I'll tell you one damn thing. I bet you won't win another one without them, because in Georgia, there are a lot more of us that are registered. Let's talk about Stacey. Big Stacey is what I call her. She's registered over 1.7 million and moving voters. In what direction do you think those voters are leaning in? And you're feeling like you're going to continue to win elections without our culture, without including us, without having a specific intentional agenda to show us and execute. That's not going to happen. And I'm big on trying to get those old heads out of there. I'm big on that on both sides. Let's get a younger generation in there ready to move and shake and progress for the people.
This is one of the things that I find funniest, about Georgia. You have the Black Mecca in Georgia.
Yes.
You have the Black American cultural hub. You have the Black American Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? This is if you capture Atlanta, any portion of Atlanta, that is going to infiltrate and spread across this country unlike any other place that you could capture, right? It is not even comparable, the amount of sway you would be able to have if you captured just a portion of the black vote in Atlanta. And they won't do it.
They won't put any effort towards it.
They fake it. They opened up a center there, and the center is usually closed on Saturdays. And I'm like, okay, you're in an election year, and your Black Outreach Center is closed on a Saturday. That in itself tells you exactly what they're doing and how they're operating and down in Georgia. And this is not to say that there aren't good Black Republicans that are trying, but when we try, we are met with, like you said, that old guard of Republicanism that says we can win this without you, so forget you. And that doesn't sit well when you have people like us that are movers and shakers that like to get things done to be told, you know what I'm saying, we are a necessity in actually being effective. And then they lose by 90%, you know, but I digress.
Hey, that's exactly what's going to happen. And let me say, let me shout out to Amanda McGee. She's over the center there in College Park. She's doing everything she possibly can to affect the conservative space and influence the conservatives in Atlanta as much as she can. And I'm not speaking for her when I say this, but I know that they're not given as a state party the support that's needed. I've explained how they got to get dirty. They got to take their gloves off. It's time out for the nice, nasty situation. You have to put some type of emotion into what you're doing at this point in time because you've done the same old regular Republican game. And what you're doing now is not going to work. There are a lot of conservative celebrities in Atlanta. Openly conservative, but they haven't had I mean, a lot of celebrities and athletes that I know personally that are very conservative, but the presentation of the Georgia GOP is not one of inclusion that they would want to be a part of. And what I am trying to get the party to see is that there is a way. But, you know, no woe is me. I'm not waiting for the party to do anything, man. I got premium gas. I'm ready to go. And Get Active Strategies is doing what we doing in all urban communities, regardless of what GOP, Democratic party is doing. We doing this.
And there's a lot of Black Americans all over the country that are doing just that. But my thing is, that's where the Republicans fall short because they keep taking this money and like, we're going to build something new. We're going to build something. No, you have people that are there already doing the work. Why don't you just access the people that are already there doing the work? And this is what they refuse to do. So I'll give a shout out to Amanda McGee. I'm going to try to get her on the show. When I am speaking about this, it is not to discourage people like her. It's for me to tell people like her, if y'all don't speak up, then no help is coming for you. Like, if y'all don't tell people, we are not getting the support. Yeah, a closed mouth does not get fed. If y'all don't speak up and y'all don't say that y'all are not getting support, if y'all don't speak up and y'all don't tell people, like I know that Killer Mike had extended an olive branch to actually go and talk to Amanda, and the upper echelons of the party said no. Like, if you're not going to go out and you're not going to talk about stuff like that, you're not going to tell on your own party, then no help is going to come. So for those who get mad at me because they're like, I'm out here doing the work and you don't recognize me, I don't recognize you because you're not telling people why the work is so hard. I don't recognize you because you're not telling people what you need for the work to be effective. I don't recognize you because you're being quiet when you know it's going to fail. That's my problem. So it's not to discourage any of these people, but it's to let them know you have a platform of people that are trying to help you, but your silence doesn't help us help you.
Absolutely. I'm big on that. You have to open your mouth, and that's what I do on both sides. I'm not sure whether or not those are reasons why. I had lack of not attention. They knew exactly on both sides, left and right, of who I am and what I'm doing. But the approach is not a polished approach to them, so they feel. And so, it's looked over. It's cool. We're going to keep moving, and you know what I'm saying, with platforms like yours and your ability to reach the masses, man. I definitely appreciate it. And definitely shout out to Calvin, big brother Calvin, man. You know what I'm saying, Daniel, for linking us from the beginning.
Most definitely, that's my political soulmate right there, Kevin Daniels.
I'm big on our minds. You know what I'm saying? My goal is to eventually be a chief of staff. My ultimate is White House chief of staff. And yes, the first black White House chief of staff. There has never been one. And if not on the state level, a chief of staff, man. So I'm good behind the scenes. I dropped out of the race earlier in the Senate race because, again, I'm not one for the glitz and glamour. I'm not good with checking my mouth or what I'm saying or pandering to BS. I'm going to be unapologetically me every single day. So I couldn't comfortably put an R or a D on my name. It messed with me, as far as how I felt ultimately that these R or D would represent me, and I just wasn't with it. But I love to stay behind the scenes and help people logistically to win. That's where I am. So that's what I'm trying to shoot for, man, chief of staff. And I look to Kevin for a lot of advice and counsel as often as possible.
Yeah, he is a genius, and that's why like we are the two sides of the coin. So he looks at that, like you said, the backside, the organizational side, because there are aspects of party needs that have to be met. You know what I'm saying? So like we don't want to overlook those things because we do want to be able to govern. We do want to make sure we understand how each position works and who we need to have in those positions and why it's important. Like we understand all of that. And then there's that my side of it where it's like, okay, here's how you message. This is how you get this information to people. This is how you have to have both sides of that coin. And I think for too long, the Republican Party, at least, I don't like, I want change on the Republican side. That's why I focus on them.
Yes.
Yeah, the intellect and the culture have to both be present. And for too many, it's like, no, we're going to go all with the intellect. And that intellect is not even intellectual, if you ask me. And just leave the culture on the outside. You know what I'm saying? And you can't do that. You have to have both. And that's kind of what I think is the beautiful mix with me and Kev. Final, wifey.
Yes.
Okay. I follow her as well.
Okay.
And the dynamic duo, I must say, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing to watch. How does that work in politics with? Now I know you don't agree on everything, and you gotta have you're gonna have arguments or disagreements in some areas. How do you find that working?
Well, it's I'm not gonna say it's easy, but I will say it's easy because of our family dynamic from the beginning. I respect my wife's views on everything, just as though I approach everything with everyone else. I respect my wife, her views on everything. Politically, she was never super politically active, so she's just kind of getting a taste of it over the last 3 years. We're working on 4 years anniversary in July. But we do have conversations. My wife kind of just nods her head, and she hears me talk about it and speak about it. And we don't, that's business. So that's never a situation where we argue about business, because from her perspective, politics doesn't interfere with our household. So that's the business side of our family, where we don't let the outside business interfere. But it's a cool thing. As far as, the work and the dynamic of me being gone and that sort of thing, now that's something she's having to get a little used to. Myself, I traveled a lot in my earlier years with my first marriage and everything, but this time it's a little different with my two little boys. But it's working smooth. It's actually a blessing, man. My wife is everything. She's the reason why I'm able to do what I'm able to do right now. So
I love black love, so I had to do that. I'm hashtag black love all day long, so I had to do that.
I love my Duchess, man. I really do. She definitely supports me, and make it possible for me to be out here, make it easier for me to be out here doing the work that I love so much. So, you know, it's a great situation, and she's everything. She's absolutely everything.
And I love to hear that. Can we hold you over for 1 second? Because we talked a lot of politics and stuff. I want to have a little bit of fun.